जुगरे खुदा में रज़वी हो।
Almighty Allah, by His divine grace and by His mercy, has guided the hearts of the believers towards those who become a means for their salvation here and in the hereafter. And apart from directing the hearts of the believers towards the spiritual elite amongst the believers, who will be the means of their salvation and the means of their reformation even in this dunya, Allah Almighty also directs at times the hearts of unbelievers towards the believers, so that those spiritually elite may be the means for them to come into the deen of Allah. This is Allah's divine grace. Allah is Qadir Mutlaq. If Allah wills, He may change a speck of dust into the most valuable thing on earth. And if Allah so wills, He may take something that is regarded most valuable and turn it to a speck of dust. Why? Because He is Qadir Mutlaq. He does as He wills. Okay? But Allah makes one thing the means for another by His divine will. And the servants of Almighty Allah, we servants of Almighty Allah, we are slaves and beggars, and the lowest amongst them when it comes to the court of our Creator. But if you want and I want to attain special closeness in the court of Allah, then there is one unique gateway for that. There is one unique and unparalleled gateway. There is a peerless and a special gateway that if you enter that gateway with sincerity, then you have gone close in the court of Almighty Allah. That special gateway is in Madinatul Munawwara. Is in Madinatul Munawwara. And the master of that palace and the palace of the universe is Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Is Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But to enter that gateway, there are many beacons on the way that guide you towards that special and Mubarak gateway. Why? Because that Darbar of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is in reality the gateway to paradise. If you entered there with sincerity, you have entered Jannat. But to get there, like Imam Ahl Sunnat ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat, Shah Imam Ahmad Raza Khan Fazl Bareilwi radiyallahu anh says कि तेरी सरकार में लाता है रजा उसको शफीर जो मेरा खौफ है और लाडला बेटा तेरा. That even when I want to go into the court of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I use the means and the zariya of Sarkar Ghaus Azam Jilani Baghdadi radiyallahu anh. Why? This is such a great and Mubarak gateway to the court of Allah. Allah says, "Ba Khuda Khuda ka yahi hai." By Allah, this is indeed the gateway to the court of Almighty Allah. But to get there in the real sense, to truly become close in the court of Almighty Allah, it starts with the heart. It's a journey of ruhaniyat that starts with the heart. A banda, a person can be standing right at the gate of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but if his heart is impure and filthy, if the heart has gustakhi like the Wahhabis, if they stand right at the court of Rasulullah, and even though they are right there, they live there, they eat there, they sleep there, but they get nothing. They get nothing. A man comes from thousands of miles away, who probably doesn't have shoes on his feet, he just managed to come there. He doesn't stay there, sleep there, eat there, he's only there temporarily. But he gets more than they can get within one moment. Why? It starts with the heart. Any journey of success in ruhaniyat and in closeness to Allah starts with the heart. The heart must be clean. The heart must command that to you which is beneficial to your deen and your dunya. If your heart, look, the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, I mentioned this narration hadith many times, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, in the body of Bani Adam, in the body of man, on the left of the body of man, there is a piece of flesh. There is a piece of gosht ka tukra. What is the heart? It's a piece of flesh. But Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if that is in order, everything is in order. If that is in order, everything is in order. And if that goes bad, everything will go bad. Medically also same story. Spiritually also same story. Medically, strong hands, good strong feet, very handsome face, nice eyes, everything. And heart fail? Heart second, what your hand going to do? What your eyes going to do? Likewise, for understanding the spiritual, you always look at our physical body. We need to start looking about our spiritual self, at the ruhani self, at this ruhani personality that you are. With the heart failing, the body is useless. But if the spiritual heart is not strong, if that heart doesn't have the remembrance of Allah, it doesn't have the remembrance of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if that heart doesn't direct you towards goodness and virtue, then that heart will become the means of your destruction. It will become the means of destruction here and in the hereafter also. Why? Because that heart will tell you, go to nightclub. That heart will tell you, go to the nightclub. That heart will tell you that talk to your parents like they mean nothing. That heart will tell you, drink sharab. Why? Because the inner self is dictating. The nafs ammara is dictating at that time. And awliya Allah have spent their entire lives fighting that battle regarding which the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Abdalul jihad jihadun nafs. The greatest and the greatest war and battle is the battle against your inner self. Is the battle against your inner self. If you are successful, if you overpower your inner self, you are a successful person. See, a man overpowered him, when a personality overpowered his inner self, he became Shaykh Al-Qaadiri Jilani. Overpowered the inner self, he became Khaja Muinuddin Ajmeri. Overpowered the inner self, became Imam Ahl Sunnat ala Hazrat. He overpowered the inner self. Our inner self dictates to us. We have become so weak. Simple example. Very simple example. If a person smokes a cigarette, example, and you want to stop, and you say, no, I tried everything, I can't give it up. It means that the inner self is so weak that you can't stop one simple habit. The inner self is so weak that we can't stop one simple habit. How are you going to overwhelm and overpower the inner self to let you become close in the court of Almighty Allah? Hazrat Sayyidina, and you know what is the thing that destroys the heart the fastest? Except keeping company of the deviants is the fastest to destroy your heart. If you keep company with the enemies of Allah and Rasul, it's the fastest thing. It will destroy your heart in a split second. But except that, what is the one thing that destroys the heart very fast? Wealth. It destroys the heart. It ruins the heart very fast. As I said, Shaykh Shibli Radiallahu anh says that one day, you see, they used to talk to their hearts. The beloveds of Allah talk to their hearts. So Hazrat Shaykh Shibli Radiallahu anh, one day, he was alone and he could hear something echoing in his heart. What he heard? Something echoing from his heart, dil ki awaaz. The heart was saying to him, Shibli, tum bakhil ho. The heart, his own heart now. You must know how they nurtured that heart to be able to do that. Fighting the inner self, the nafs ammara. So, he says that I heard my inner self saying to me, Shibli, you are a miser. Tum bakhil ho. Shibli is a miser. The heart was saying. So what he did, Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Shibli radiallahu anh says, I directed myself now to my heart. Because my heart, I could hear this echoing inside. And I started to deny what my heart was saying. मैं उसका इनकार कर रहा था. The heart was saying, you are a miser. I was saying, no, I'm not a miser. The heart carried on saying, you are a miser. I said, I'm not a miser. He said, when I said this, then 100 times over I could hear my heart echoing, you are a miser. You are a miser. What is he doing? Fighting the nafs. So he says, when this carried on happening, I got up and I made niyat that the first amount of valuable or precious or wealth that comes in my hand today, the first amount that comes, I will go out and I will give it in the hand of a fakir. I won't take anything from them. Whatever I make for today. Because my heart is telling me I'm a miser. It is because of my wealth. So Hazrat, great personality like Hazrat Shibli radiallahu anh. Indeed they were not, but this is the war between them and their heart, between the inner self. So what did he do? What did he do? He said, I made niyat that the first amount that I make, big amount, whatever I get today, I am going to give it to one fakir. He said, this thought was still in my mind. This thought, ye khayal abhi mere zahn se nikla. It was still in my mind. When somebody knocked on my door, I went to the door and the person greeted me and he said, oh Shibli, there is a gift for you. He gave me a gift and he removed and he went away. When I looked what was inside, there were 50 gold coins. There were 50 dinars. He said, I took the dinars and I didn't even look at it. I left. I went outside my house looking for that fakir that I thought to myself, that the first wealth that comes in my hand, I will give it away to him. He said, I went out with that 50 coins in my hand, the 50 dinars, and I saw that not far from my house there was a hajjam, a baba. In front of the baba, a fakir who was blind was sitting there. A fakir, I want to listen carefully. A fakir who was blind was sitting there and he was having his hair cut. So Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Shibli radiallahu anh said, I went to this fakir while the baba was cutting his hair and I took the 50 gold coins, the dirhams, and I put it in his hand. And I put it in his hand. He said, as I put it in the hand, he's a blind fakir. He cannot see me. So I gave it to him. As I put it in his hand, he said, not to me, to the baba. Allahu Akbar. Mujhe mat do, hajjam ko do. Not to me, to the baba. So Shibli radiallahu anh says, I said to him, Magar ye to dinar hai. This is gold coins. He said, before your nafs told you that you are a miser, my nafs told me that I am a miser. Allahu Akbar. He already knows the condition of his nafs, of what was happening to Shibli radiallahu anh. He said, because your nafs, before your nafs told you, you are a miser. My nafs told me that I am a miser. So give it to the hajjam. Give it to the baba. Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Shibli radiallahu anh took that 50 gold coins and he put it in the hand of the hajjam, the baba. The baba says, by Allah, when this fakir came and sat on my chair, I made a promise with Allah that I will not take a cent from him. I made a promise with Allah that I will not take any ujrat for doing this. If you give me this amount while he's sitting on my chair, it means I'm going against my promise with Almighty Allah. I don't need it. Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Shibli radiallahu ta'ala, he took the dinars, he went to a river and he threw it inside. He went to the river and he threw it inside. And he said, oh wealth of dinars, may Allah deal with you like this. For the one who falls in love with you becomes humiliated. He becomes badnaam, he becomes zaleel, because he became the ghulam of this thing. What am I trying to show? Where does the journey start? Where did this journey start? With the heart. This journey started with the heart. If the heart of Shibli wasn't the heart of Shibli, nobody going to take 50 gold coins and throw it in the river. Why was he doing this? Because he knew that this was a means that my nafs wanted. A pious servant of Allah on a very hot day, burning hot day, a pious servant of Allah was lying on his charpai, on his wooden rope mat bed, not on the beautiful beds we sleep. It was lying in the intense heat, and he was burning with a fever. His murids, his disciples went to him, and they started to pick up his bed. While he was lying on it, they were picking up his charpai, and they were about to move it under a tree. He stopped them. He said, "What are you doing?" They said, "It's so hot. You have a burning fever. Oh Shaykh, we thought we will take you and put you in the shade of the tree. Darakh ke saaye mein." He said, "Leave me here." They said, "But you will get more ill." He said, "As much as that is beneficial for my health, but right now my nafs is saying to me, go there. My nafs is saying, go under the tree. Today I will not do what my nafs wants. I will do that which pleases my Rabb Almighty Allah." This journey starts with the heart. It starts with the heart. Hazrat Sayyidina, very great Imam of Tasawwuf and Ruhaniyat, Hazrat Sayyidina Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu, who is resting in Baghdad Muqaddas. Hazrat Sayyidina Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu, subhanallah, one day he was on a journey. He was going through the wilderness. He was journeying into the jungles. Not like today how we jumped in our car, turn the key and move. In those days when they journeyed, this is how they journeyed through forests, passing wild animals. When you go to Makkah to Mukarramah and Madinah to Munawwara, and you drive or you journey between Makkah Sharif and Madinah Sharif, and you look at that mountainous terrain and you think, Allahu Akbar, look at where our Nabi walked. Look at what the Sahaba went through so that we could get Islam today. Look at the difficulties that they faced. So Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu, he was journeying through the wilderness, and his intention of very lengthy journey by foot was for what? To get to Makkatul Mukarramah. To reach Makkatul Mukarramah. So Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu is journeying through the wilderness, and while on this journey he meets a monk. He meets a rahib, a Christian monk, who had the zanar tied on his waist. You know, they tie that belt as a sign of their religion. So he had this tied on his waist, and he approached Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu, and he said, "You look like a man who is very honest and very pious. Can I join you on this trip? Through the wilderness, jungle." Now he didn't know where he's going, and he didn't ask where he's going. But because he saw that this is somebody that looks honest, he looks like somebody that's zimidar, let me travel with him. He was a monk, he was a Christian. Hazrat Sayyidina Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu started contemplating for a little while. After some time he agreed. He said, "Okay, you travel with me." They traveled together. Listen now, this is the journey of the heart, and listen with the heart. The monk, the Christian monk, after Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas contemplated, he decided to allow him to journey with him. It's on a trip, nothing serious. Two people traveling through a forest, through a jungle. They traveled for 7 days together. How many days? 7 days together. When 7 days ended, whatever they had has gone finished, whatever they were carrying with them. So the monk addresses Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas. Now remember, for 7 days he is watching. He is watching this man, this personality who he is traveling with. And Ibrahim Khawwas didn't just say yes for him to travel with, he also knew why he was going. So for 7 days they traveled with. After 7 days the monk looks at Ibrahim Khawwas and he says, "Oh pious and virtuous worshipper, oh Abid." Already in 7 days he's recognized him as an Abid, as a pious worshipper. The monk recognizes him. So he says, "Oh pious and virtuous worshipper, we are both hungry at the moment. Why don't you show some karamat?" This is a kafir, a monk. He says to Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas, "Why don't you show some karamat?" Hazrat Ibrahim Khawwas radiallahu anhu then turns his heart, journey of the heart. He turns his heart to the court of Almighty Allah. He directs his heart in the court of Almighty Allah. And he raises his hand and he says, "Oh Allah, please do not let me be humiliated in front of this non-Muslim. Don't let me be humiliated." He's not saying, "I will show you karamat." He's a pious servant, he's a wali, Ibrahim Khawas. But he turns his heart to the court of Allah. He says, "Oh Allah, allow not for this slave of yours to be humiliated in front of this non-Muslim." Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas just says this and turns his hand. He's still turning his hand. And from ghaib, a tray appears. From the asman, a tray appears. Bread, meat, dates and water. Bread, meat, dates and water. And Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas radiallahu anh then says to the monk, "They eat, you wanted. You wanted it." So he eats. Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas eats. They journey further. They go on another journey. Now this looks like a normal physical journey. But no, this was the journey of the heart. They journeyed more. How long they journeyed? Another 7 days. At the end of those 7 days, Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas now turns to the monk. And he says, "We are hungry again. Whatever we had is finished. Can you do something?" He didn't say do any miracle. He said, "Can you sort something?" Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas asked him this because he knew ye kuch kar nahi paega. He knew that he will not be able to do anything. And it's going to come back to me. And what I need to do, I will do. So Ibrahim Khawas radiallahu anh said to him, 7 more days have passed. Now we are hungry. Can you do something? So the monk he had his stick. He takes his stick and he leans on it. Monk takes his stick and he leans on it. And he starts to pray. The monk. Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas is looking at him. Ibrahim Khawas radiallahu anh said, he just finishes saying whatever he was saying. And I see from the unseen 2 trays. I see from the unseen 2 trays. And with even better delicacies than what came for me when I prayed. Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas radiallahu anh is astounded, he's in shock. But how can it happen like this? He is not a Muslim. He is a monk. Ye to Isai hai. I did it so my Rabb kept my izzat, and from the heavens he sent down for me. I could, from unseen food came. But this monk now, I just was doing like this. Dekhna ye kare kya? But isne jo ki to 2 trays better than one I. Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas is still looking amazed. The monk puts it down. He says, "Ibrahim, eat." He puts his hand back. Although it's come from unseen. Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas holds his hand back. The monk looks at him and he says, "Ibrahim Khawas, eat. I will give you 2 khush khabri. Eat. I will give you 2 good news." Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas said, "Tell me the good news first. Then we'll think about eating." He said, "The first good news is, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah." He said, "I have already left my deen at the time when you said do something. Because the second good news is that when I was praying, I said, oh Almighty Allah, if there is any share remaining in your divine court for this pious and virtuous believer, then through him, give him and then give me." So he says that even this which came is because of you. Even this which came is because of you. And this coming has brought me to the deen of Almighty Allah. That is why Allah accepted what I said, because you are the means of me accepting Islam. And I made dua through your wasila. A monk made dua through the wasila of Allah's wali, and he got deen. And if a Muslim makes dua to Allah's wali, what will he get? What will he get? What will he not get? Hazrat Sayyidina Ibrahim Khawas radiallahu anh says, the man after that, he was a Muslim now. He traveled with me, we journeyed until we both came to Makkah Mukarramah. And we both did Hajj together. Allahu Akbar. We both came to Makkah Mukarramah. And we both did Hajj together. And Hazrat Ibrahim Khawas radiallahu anh says that after I left, he remained there for 1 year. And then I was informed that after that year, he passed away in Makkah and he was buried in Makkah. How did he get this Makkah? Because of the condition of the heart of the one who he was with. So this entire journey is the journey of the heart. If you and I want to be close in the court of Almighty Allah, if we want barakat in our lives, If we want sins to be washed away from our hearts, the journey starts with the heart. The journey starts with the heart. It is very important for us to nurture our hearts. Not to let the inner self, the nafs ammara, dictate to you. You must try and overpower that. And you're going to make an attempt. How many of us, let's ask, and I'm ending with this. How many of us in a day take 10 or 15 minutes to sit alone and to say, today I'm going to sit and try to overwhelm my inner self. I'm not going to do what it says to me to do. I'm going to do that which is going to please my Lord. I'm going to do that which is going to make me near in the court of Almighty Allah. For those who do, Allah's mercy. For those of us that don't, why are we wasting every day in our lives? Why haven't you started the journey of the heart? Why have we not started this journey? We have taken every other journey. What about the journey of the heart, which will allow your heart to become the dust under the feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? This is what we need. If the heart is cleansed and purified, the old people used to say, Dil saaf manzil aasan. If your heart is pure, your destination is easy to reach. But if the heart becomes polluted and contaminated, then to go on any spiritual journey is impossible. If you want to be a true seeker, a true sadiq, one who wants to attain closeness in the path of court of Almighty Allah, then we have to start with the journey of the heart. You have to clean that heart so that the heart tells you that which is open. If you are wrong, your heart will tell you you are wrong. If you're not doing enough, your inner self will tell you you are not doing enough. The heart and the inner self work together. Okay? So understand this. Take the barakat of it. Try to change. Try the journey of the heart. You will see the difference that it will make. May Allah give me and you the tawfiq to all try this. May Allah keep us with iman. Let us read the word with iman. And one of the ways of purifying the heart is to make dhikrullah. To make the dhikr of Allah. That is why every Friday after Jummah, I make 2 or 3 minutes of dhikr at least. Even this what we're doing is dhikrullah. Okay? But we sit and we read the dhikr. Why? So we can purify our hearts. Okay? So we make dua that Allah keeps us with iman. Let us read the word with iman.